Okay, so when we talk about percent, if you think about the word per and cent in there, means per hundred. So percent means per hundred. All right, so per hundred. So if you look at this circle graph that's done that handout I gave you, so you'll see something that looks like this pi is like 13. Then you have something that looks like this, and that's like 57, and then this is 30. So if you look at that diagram that you were given, it says that these are the number of bedrooms in privately owned single family houses per 100 houses. So so this so per 100, so notice when you add those numbers you get 100, right? So they're saying that out of every 100 houses, single family houses, 57 has how many bedrooms? 3. 13 out of 100 has 2 or fewer bedrooms, and then 30 out of 100 have 4 or more bedrooms. Okay? So, remember, this survey says out of every 100. Okay? So if I look at that 57 that's there, if I look at 57 that's there, I can represent, since it's out of 100, I can represent that 57 as a percent. So instead of saying 57 out of 100 have 3 bedrooms, I can say 57% have 3 bedrooms. So notice all I did was I attached to it the percent symbol. So percent means per 100. Percent means per 100. So you see that 57% that I just wrote? That means this. That means 57 divided by what? 100. That's what that means. So that 57%, that percent symbol, means per 100. So 57% means the same thing as saying 57 divided by what? 100. Okay? All right. So let's look at that example one, the objective one. So objective one is you want to express a fraction as a percent. All right, express a fraction as a percent. So in that example, we have 3/8. 3/8. All right, now listen carefully. So on your calculator, if you're given a fraction, and you will, you first of all divide the fraction on your calculator. You're going to say you're going to say the way mine is now. Yours may be a little different, so you got to know how to use your calculator. So for mine, I'm going to say 3 divided by 8. You see 3/8, so 3 divided by 8. You say that first. Then I press equal. When I press equal, I get this. You see this decimal? Okay? All right, so right now, 3/8, 3/8 represents what decimal? Yeah, 0.375, right? That's what that represents. What I want to do, though, is I want to write this as a percent. So I want to write that decimal as a percent. So you got to remember something about writing a decimal as a percent. So if you give it a decimal and you want to write as a percent, you move the decimal point 2 places, and it's 2 because per 100. How many zeros in 100? It's 2. So think of it that way. So per 100. So you move the decimal point which way?
Closest to the right.
To the right. Okay? So this will be, you move it 2 places to the right. So that's going to be 37.5%. Okay? So that's what you do. So to change a decimal to a percent, you move the decimal point 2 places to the right and add the percent symbol. So let's look at the at that gray area that's on that handout. So it says expressing a fraction as a percent. So the first thing you do, step 1, is to do what? Divide the numerator by the denominator. Okay? Then step 2 says multiply the quotient by 100, which means this, by the way. So you see when I had 0.375? So if I multiply by 100, use your calculator, multiply by 100. If I multiply by 100, what do I get? 37.5. And that's the process of changing a decimal to a percent. You multiply by 100, and all you have to do at the end is add the percent symbol. Okay, so I get 37.5, so therefore the answer is 37.5%. Don't make the mistake, guys, and do this, because this does happen at times. If you're not careful, some of you are going to say this. And I need for you to tell me what's wrong with that statement. Is 0.375 equal to 37.5? No. On the number line, 0.375 is less than 1. 37.5 is a lot on the other side than 1. What should the statement be in order for that to be true? What am I missing here? I'm missing percent symbol. So this is true. Okay? So that's a true statement. All right, any questions on that part? All right, so if I had number 2, let's say number 2, I had, and if it, see how when I divided, it terminated? Do you remember what I mean by a decimal that terminates? You can count how many digits there are. So how many digits are in this decimal? On the right side of the decimal point, how many digits? 3. So it terminated. There might be a situation where it doesn't terminate, just approximate. I'll tell you where to approximate. So for example, let's say we had 2 sevenths. So let's go ahead and write 2 sevenths as a percent, and it's not going to terminate, so let's just round off, because that's all I want to do right now. It's just to round off, because we're really going to use it in terms of finding discounts and all that. So we're just going to round. So 2 sevenths on your calculator, you're going to say 2 divided by 7, and then press equal. And when I do that, you see it doesn't terminate. Remember, your calculator only gives that much, but it continues on. It's an infinite number of digits. This is an infinite number of digits. Okay, and it does repeat, because you notice at some point, see where it starts repeating right here? 2, 8, and it says 6, but that's because it rounded off, because it was the last digit. Okay, so let's go ahead and first of all, multiply by 100. So do y'all agree that 2 sevenths is approximately equal to, I'm using the word approximate, is approximately equal to 0.2857114 and so on? Y'all agree? Yes or no? Okay. I want to change this to a percent. So I would multiply by what? 100. So say times. See how the answer showed up? It says answer times 100. And this is what you get. So notice the decimal point was moved how many places to the right? 2. So this is going to be 28.5714 ... percent. Y'all agree? Do y'all remember that when you multiply by 100, you're changing to percent, right? Okay. But let's just go ahead and round to that first decimal point, the first digit after that decimal point. So you see when I did 28.57, let's round to the nearest tenth. So remember, this means tenths place right here. So if the digit in the hundredths place, remember the word hundredths? If the digit in the hundredths place is 5 or greater, what do I do to the tenths place? Yeah, you add 1. So what's going to be the when you say 2/7 approximately equal to, what decimal are you going to put? 28.6 what percent? Right. So that if it doesn't terminate, then just go ahead and do what I just did. So you multiply by 100, and then you round to the nearest tenth. But you have to look at the hundredths place, because if that's 5 or bigger, you gotta add 1 to the tenths place. All right, now let's look at this one. So now we're going to go backwards. All right, so listen carefully to what we just saw. Do y'all agree that that 0.728 is the same thing as saying 72.8%? Yes or no? Yeah. You move the decimal point 2 places to the right. So to change a decimal to percent, you move the decimal point 2 places to the right and add a percent symbol. So that's when you multiply by 100, that's what you're doing, moving it 2 places to the right. But now we're going to go backwards, though. So I'm going to ask you this. Look what we have. So I went this way. Now what's going to happen is I want you to think about this. I want you to think about, well, what if you're told that you have 26.4% and you want to write this as a decimal without the percent symbol? You know what to do? It's okay if you don't.
You could just put 26.4 over 100.
Okay, you could do that. What else can you do? We'll come back to that. Move how many places to the left? 2. So remember when I went from a decimal to a percent, I multiplied by 100, right? So which in essence was I moved the decimal point how many places to the right? 2. When going the other way, I moved the decimal point how many places to the left? So remember a while ago in our discussion, one of the things we saw that if I want to change a decimal to a percent, I'll multiply, first of all, I'll multiply by what? 100. Okay? Now what I'm going to do is change a percent to a decimal. So instead of multiplying by 100, I'm going to do what? Divide by 100. So remember a while ago we said 57% means the same thing as 57 divided by what? 100. So percent means per 100. So you divide by 100. So if you're having difficulty remembering which way to go, so if you have the percent, 26.4%, remember, that means the same thing as 26.4 divided by what? 100. So put that on your calculator. Go ahead and put that in your calculator. So 26.4 divided by 100. And notice what you have. So 26.4 divided by 100. Press equal, and you get 0.264. Isn't that the same thing as move the decimal point 2 places to the left? Okay. So this is 0.264. Okay. All right. So if I want to change a decimal, if I want to change a percent to a decimal, I can do one of two things. I can divide by 100, because percent symbol means per 100. Or if I remember, I can just move the decimal point how many places? 2. Which way? To the left. Now you see how some of you said right, some of you said left? All right, if you're not sure, then actually do the division. So to go from a percent to a decimal, I divide by what? 100, because that percent symbol means per what? 100. Divide by 100. That's what that means. All right, let's look at this example, the example that's in the handout. So example 1. I have, so example 1, you want to express each of the following as a percent. So example 1, so 0.38. So you want to write as a percent, so what's the answer? Now remember, be careful, this says write as a percent, so how do you write a decimal as a percent?
Move it to the right.
2 places to the right, so what's the answer? 38%.
That's
Okay. Number 2, 2.45. What do you get? 245%. Number 3, 62. What's the answer? 62. And how many? 2 places. Now, see what gets students is this. See in numbers 1 and 2, you saw the decimal point. In number 3, you don't see it. Where's it understood to be? Right here. Right? So if I move it 2 places to the right, which means multiply by what? 100. So what's 62 times 100 in your calculator? 6,200. So this will be 6,200%. That's what that is. Okay? Now, based on what we just talked about, look at that next example under objective 3. Under objective 3. Write 23% as a decimal. First of all, if you're not sure, what are you going to do first? What are you going to do? So you can say 23 divided by 100, and then what's that on your calculator? Okay, 0.23. Or you could have just taken a decimal point and moved it how many places? It's always going to be 2 because you're dealing with percent, 100 per 100. So 2 places. You just got to remember, well, do I move it 2 places right, 2 places left? But if not sure, just go ahead and change the percent symbol to per 100. What gets students, though, is this. See, you don't see the decimal point. Where's it understood to be? Right here. So 23%, the decimal point's understood to be here. So if I'm going to move it, instead of divide by 100, then I got to move it 2 places which way? To the left. So what's the answer? 0.23. All right, what about number 2? You have 160%. 160%. What do you think the answer is? What? 1.6 or 1.60? Doesn't matter. You divide by 100, right? So do y'all agree that 160% is 160 divided by 100? And so if you put out on your calculator 160 divided by 100 on your calculator, you get 1.6. Okay, so 1.6 as a percent is 160%. 160% as a decimal is 1.6. All right, now this is going to be important because as we continue with this next class period, we're going to talk about sales tax. And so you have to know how to deal with percent with regards to sales tax. And we talk about discounts. And you have to know how to deal with percents. Okay? So what we're going to do next class period